And after a week hiatus, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for another recap review show of Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. Tonight, the fellas, we got y'all for episode 8 of season 4. This episode is titled Street Struck, where it is written by the one and only Sascha Penn and directed by Lionel Coleman. Lucas and I here to break this entire episode down. So, Lucas, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm great. I just want my as you did one episode falsely, as someone corrected you in the comments. I just want my credit for everybody out there who I told you who killed Famous, and I told you the reason they killed Famous. I was very adamant why it was them and why they did it.
You nailed it.
Look what we have here in episode 8 as they decide to finally show us exactly what I thought. Kanan Stark is J. Jonah Jameson. Every time something happens, it's always gonna be Rock. No matter, bring me Spider-Man. No matter what happens, Joe.
I have so many comments about it tonight. We're definitely gonna get to it. But you're entirely right. This is also an episode that was heavy on the street code. There was no snitches in this entire episode. I don't think Rilla's sort of confession to Lou is a snitch, but everybody kept it G, shall I say. And we'll definitely talk about that. But a lot of bodies dropped today. And I expect a lot more next week, which is episode 9. Which
you already know.
Then I expect even more on the finale. So we'll have so much to talk about. We get to our 3 final episodes of this season. Let's just jump right into it. So Marvin, he kicks the episode off by catching the body of Quan. And we know Marvin's voice. We see the destruction in there. And with Quan sort of at mercy right now, and he wants to open up the safe to get money, but in this case, jewelry, found some diamonds. And then he ultimately unmasks himself. And Quan identifies him as Rock's brother. And Marvin says, I'm more than that. And that's 3 bodies within the first 2 minutes of this episode. Now, my question to you is, Marvin wearing a mask? He's never done this. It's the first thing I thought about. I was like, what would make him want to keep his identity a secret, knowing what he was going to do off break? He had to kill Quan. And as we know throughout this entire episode, that Quan coming off the board completely cripples Unique. Everybody's in turmoil now because now they realize, like, okay, now if Quan got hit, what could this mean? What's the ripple effect from it? It's a calculated move by Marvin. He knew what he was going to do. I gotta keep this thing to myself, like, why did he wear a mask? But maybe that's a mute point. But I'm just wondering for you, what did you think about the whole thing and Quan coming off the board so quick?
I thought he wore a mask because it was easier for Quan to give him what he wanted. Because it needed to look like a robbery. If he doesn't wear a mask, he just has to know Quan's just going to kill him. So what's the chances of Quan not doing the things necessary to make it look like a robbery? So when he put that mask on, it helps solidify that this is a robbery.
Okay.
And that's what he was trying to sell at first. He knew eventually he was going to take that mask off. Because he didn't, other than that, it would have been no reason for him to take the mask off.
Yeah.
But he knew he was going to. That was the key part, but he needed to get into that safe first. And if Quan knows that that's Marvin, or as he called him, Rock's brother, it's a good chance he's never going to open that safe up.
Yeah.
But they needed the safe to be open because then it looks like a robbery.
Yeah.
So, because, again, if he knew it was Marvin, he knew Marvin was coming there to kill him. There's no doubt about it. Like, nah, why would I open my safe up and you're here to kill me anyway? Like, there's no bargaining with my life. So the moment Quan says, if I do this, will I live? I told you there why Marvin had the mask on.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, moving on. We get Lou and Ammani. And I guess we had needed a picture of Lou's ass for the second scene. I guess, there was reasons for that. But now
a power sex scene. Power sex.
It is. It definitely is. It's a very classic ghost in this episode. But here nor there, Lou and Ammani, and I So Ammani, first off, wanting to kind of get an idea of what their situation is.
Yeah.
And she's using metaphorical terms to ask him about where they stand. And I got to be honest, I'm just going to tell you my whole thoughts about all of this. Her approach to this is definitely seems something suspicious. Like, I don't know if it's the tone of her voice. I don't know if it's her approach, but there's something seems suspicious. But beyond the suspicion of her intentions, her very crafty way of trying to establish a relationship with him is very odd, unconventional, but very, I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot of conversation about what are we? Are we really doing
best
this?
not to say what it obviously is. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll leave it to you. But I think they're trying to, she's trying to establish something with him. And I even think with her trying to sort of open up the emotional availability to him with him losing his mother and he's not ready to talk about it. But she's like creating her, sort of the space for him. But again, all of it seems super suspicious to me. I just don't know what to think about it. But it's the second scene episode. So I figured we'll talk about it because otherwise I would have just skipped it because I thought it meant nothing. But for you, what did you make of this?
Yeah, we played this game with them in the last episode when she was trying to get Lou to establish what they were. And I said, this is what happens when women get connections. So here, now it's just overall like, fuck this. He's going to have to admit that he wants to be with me. Yeah. I don't think there's a play involved here. I literally think it's just her feelings. But we've been leading up to this when she called feelings, when it was supposed to be just casual, like she said at first. Then all of a sudden we saw so many feelings come out when she found Jessica's earrings. Then with the other conversation they had and the feelings come out. And then here with this, do you got another job? Do you got... no, just say you want to be with me. And see, this is the problem with women. Always beating around the bush and just not saying, I want to be with you. Do you want to be with me? Women had it so much easier when they was able to put this on a note in grade school and pass it all the way to the front, and you would get it, and it said, do you want to be my boyfriend? Yes or no. But when they got to say that shit out loud, they come up with these outlandish, over-the-top metaphors. Do you want to be my earth and moon and stars? Like, but just say, do I want to be with you and get this over with? Like, that's all this was. It's how awkward women are when they fall for somebody and they want to say, I want to be with you. Do you want to be with me?
Yeah.
And that's all this was. I didn't read anything else into this but that. Like, she just finding creative ways to tell Lou, I want to be your woman.
Yeah, y'all let us know what y'all think how this is gonna play out, because Lou having the love interest this late in the season, and Lou's getting back to his OG self. It's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. I got a few thoughts, but I guess we'll talk about it at the end of the episode. So Be Real leaving the corner store, and Be Real, he's just kind of in his own space. But what we truly do find out, and I think it's safe to talk about it right now, is that Be Real is definitely affected by what he very naively understood about that robbery gone wrong. He feels a little bit at fault. And also, I think he understands that he has heat on him, potentially, but certainly after he walked out of this corner store when King Yetta and Julius rose up on him. And they're like, hey, we about to hit him again. And he's like, yeah, I'm not down with that. And they basically said, like, we knew you wasn't about this life, and Be Real now in this conscious again, like, damn, man, like, these dudes, wow, I got caught up with the wrong dudes, But I guess we'll talk a little bit more about that once him and Lou have to talk. We see Rock doing some surveillance with Unique to seeing how he moved back at the place, back at his fabric shop. Kanan and Juke now, and I think this is sort of the continuing scenes that we have with the two of them, where they're just chopping up about what all is happening. So, of course, the topic of conversation right now is O-Cee. I know he's the one who took the money, and they're like, we need to find him. Kanan gets the idea, like, I'm gonna go see his mother. Juke's like, nah, I got it. And he's like, for real? But Juke is right. Definitely a much better look if she goes
coming from a girl. Yeah.
Coming from a girl. Yeah. And then it goes back to what we all been wondering this entire season, which apparently you knew much longer than us. I guess you and Mark Dark are the only people that knew.
For different reasons.
Yeah. But they want to know, they got the idea of who hit fame. And it is Kanan like, well, it's Rock. That's what I think. And Juke is like, hell nah. And honestly, I don't know if we want to talk about it now, but like, well, maybe we'll just knock it out now. But like,
I think it's important to talk about this scene because of what he says in this scene is what makes no sense at all.
Oh yeah. I got a bunch of this doesn't make sense, but
yeah,
I want to get to him before you do. But I do think it's important that it is across the board that every single person who you can say is the closest to Kanan is saying the same thing to him. Rock loved fame. She wouldn't do this. And he does make the relevant statement of saying she will do who she wants, when she wants, however she wants. Look what she did to D-Wiz. So in that case, Juke essentially hears it, but we know, at least for me, just answer this right now, and you'll tell me if you agree. Juke was unfazed by any sort of pitch that Kanan was making against his mother. I think it's confirmed when she had that statement with Rock later on, where she was kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on him, but I don't think she ever bat an eye thinking Rock had anything to do with this under any circumstance, especially if it was by way of Kanan trying to feed a narrative to her. But one thing I will say before you get to that, because I'm just gonna beat you to the punch, Kanan doesn't make sense. And he doesn't make sense in a lot of different moments. And this is just the first moment of this episode where if you really digging deep into this, there's contradictions in every single thing that Kanan said. And in fact, let me set you up right, because right after the scene is Unique in the goons, and his goons is his stooges, and O-Cee waiting for him and waiting for him. So that was a short scene. But then we go back to Kanan and Juke, and as we know, Kanan is still trying to put it on Rock, but Juke doesn't agree. And then this is where we get Kanan with the idea saying, I'm gonna go talk to Snaps and Pop, because I know they got connections to the feds. And he makes the declaration of saying, Rock does whatever she want whenever she want. Now, the contradictory statement here is, and we find out later, and as you said before, we know Snaps and Pop had connection to the feds. He said later, how do you know we got connection to the feds? Because I seen you talking to them. It must have been about business. So your mother couldn't have been conducting business?
Oh my God, that was the dumbest part of this episode. Is the moment he told Juke, well, I saw Rock talking to the cops, and she done had the cops in her pocket. So, and we know cops took out fame. So why wouldn't Rock do this? And then turns around and says, I'm gonna talk to Snaps and Pop because they have connection with the cops. And it never pops into his head. The people who benefit the most of getting rid of Famous is Snaps and Pop. Rock's business is not affected by Famous. Their business is affected by Famous because their business is you. Yeah. And none of it's clicked like this. It gets frustrating because you just wondering as this kid talks more and more, like, do you even hear yourself? Are you so blinded that you're not even listening? And I think you're right. I think Juke never fully gave full credit or full thought that Rock killed Famous. But I think Juke put two and two together when he said Snaps and Pops has a connection. And Juke probably like, okay, I think I know who killed Famous now. Because you just told me. The people who you were in business with, your partner, who everybody says was snitching on you, has connections to the police. And you ain't putting two and two together. Like, it could get frustrating when Kanan talks because majority of what he says makes no sense. And at first, we will always stick by the terminology that he's a teenager, so this is what teenagers do. But then we got to get to the point where we really realize, man, you don't seem to be built for the life that you're trying to live. Like, you're way too naive. But if we think about it, this is where, ladies and gentlemen, we put our thinking caps on here. If we think about it, as frustrating as it is to hear Kanan here, are you telling me no one here notices that grown Kanan did the same thing with Tariq and never paid attention when Tariq turned on him?
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing. So I'm no longer going to say it's because Kanan is a teenager. I'm going to say this is a flaw of his. And I think it's very creative for them to weave this flaw through the original Power series until here. Because in original Power, Kanan overly trusted Ghost and Tasha. That's how they turned on him. Original Power, he overtrusted Tariq. That's how he turned on him. Kanan does not do good with people at all when he builds these emotional connections to him. We saw it also this year with O-Cee. He overly trusted O-Cee, and O-Cee ended up robbing him. But he's never put two and two together because he literally sit at the table when Juke said, or they said, "Are you sure Unique didn't do it?" But Kanan didn't put two and two together. Like, wait a minute, Unique was robbing my mother, so why wouldn't he rob me? Why wouldn't he get somebody close to me to help rob? Like, none of this is popping into his head as a factor. It is comical, but at the same time, it is a decent connection to the original Power universe. That's what I liked about this.
Good breakdown there, sir. Let's move on. So we see Unique finally rose up to a spot, and O-Cee is freaking out. He's like, "Hey, Kanan, no, I helped take the cash. I got to get out of New York. I got a place to go, but there's nowhere here for me safe. Like, I have nowhere to go. I haven't been home in a week, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera." Then Unique gets whispered some news, and it comes out that Quan has been killed.
They've been killed.
And so that's obviously not good news for him because that's his connect. And of course, I believe any reaction after this is completely on par for Unique. Emotional, frantic, chaotic. So of course, this becomes one of the funniest scenes of the episode. Is O-Cee, you want to go out there, nigga, 5 bullets and kills him right there and tells he's supposed to clean it up. So yeah, rest in peace, O-Cee. Now we got 4 bodies already off the board.
One thing here that this is so comical. So you telling me you robbed Kanan, took all that money, and your ass didn't take enough money for you to possibly use to get away? All right. That's so smart move.
Yeah,
O-Cee.
Yeah, very. B-Rilla in the studio. B-Rilla can't stay on the beat, can't get his lyrics together. But he ends up wanting to talk to Lou, and he confesses everything that's happened about the robbery gone wrong with Kenyatta and Julius. And of course, Lou chews him out, let him know he's an idiot. So Rock and Marvin, they go back to Hafiz. Just let him know that the product, he lets them know that the product's coming at the end of the week. Unique now speaks to his folks and says like, "Hey, we got to take out basically all of Rock's places, which is essentially the carryouts and so on." But they're getting word from Jersey saying like, "Hey, you need to chill." But yeah, he's ready to make moves. Detective Garcia comes in and very hilariously said the rumors are true. Guess you're not dead, but I need to talk to you. Which is so funny here because Unique is like, "Okay, hey, did y'all clean up back there? Let's talk back there." I'm like, bro, you just murdered somebody, and you're just very casually like, "Yeah, let's talk exactly where I just murdered somebody at." But that's no here nor there. Here's where it gets interesting for me, and this is why I said like Street Code was on 1,000 this episode, because when he comes in there asking about the connection between Ronnie and Detective Howard, he says like, "Hey, at this rate," and I'm combining 2 scenes here because it skips over because they always throw that little scene in the middle, and which really quickly the scene in the middle is Rock and Marvin saying we got to get everybody on point. The work is coming in, so then good spirit. But yeah, he going back to Unique and Garcia, he's saying like, "Hey, I got you as the prime suspect, and I'm going to charge you with capital murder. We want to know what is the connection between Ronnie and Howard, since they were both found next to each other dead." And he, Garcia puts up this theory about why he feels, Unique did it, but Unique obviously ain't buying to it. But what I did think was interesting was, as much as he dislikes Rock, why didn't he just give her up?
Oh, he can't.
But Street Code.
Yeah.
He would be murdered.
He would be murdered. He know better.
Yeah. I mean, and granted, that's sort of the law of the street, but
yeah,
I guess I was thinking with the idea of him even playing with the idea because his hatred for her makes him make unreasonable decisions. And what's no different from him? But listen, what's no different from him making moves on Rock when New Jersey told him not to than him going to the feds and saying, I think she did it? They're both going to end up in the same place.
Because if he does that and turns on New Jersey, it's still a street etiquette to it. They still got to come and get him. If he snitches on Rock, a once famous rapper once said in a song called "It Was All Good" just a week ago, Sean Jay-Z Carter. Once you get labeled a snitch, that's it.
Yeah.
Nobody in the streets is messing with you.
Yeah.
The niggas from Jersey would leave. Everybody, his head would be on everybody. His head would be for everybody at that point. Because once you snitch once, I can never trust that you're not gonna do it again. I can't do business with you. You know, hey, once you label a snitch, you label a skit, you in jail minus the bars. Like, you always going to be in that prison. And Unique is too smart. Like, he may be crazy as hell, and he may be emotional, but he's not emotional about that element of it.
Yeah.
So he gonna let that cop do whatever he want to do, and Unique ain't gonna open his mouth up. Unique still wants to kill Rock. Like, he could care less about anything else here. What I found funny about this whole entire scene include when the cop first come in, or Unique trying to give orders, and someone else telling him New Jersey wants us to stand by. He like, man, fuck that. Are we not paying attention that he's actually in a room full of New Jersey niggas? Because he has no niggas. All these niggas is from New Jersey because of the mob. And you're telling them, fuck the people who y'all work for. Y'all do what I say do. Like, it just proves just how irrational he is. Like, you in a room full of niggas from Jersey because they were told to work with you. They're not turning on the person who told them to work with you.
Yeah.
You have lost your mind.
So now we get Snaps, Pops, and Kanan doing a good old stroll through Central Park with their dog, Pups. Whatever the dog name is Pups, because we have Pups, Pops, and Snap. That it just makes sense to me.
Hey, man, let's make it all together.
Yeah.
One big happy family.
Of course, they want to know what's the deal, who put down Quan. They want to know if you have any idea, which Kanan doesn't have any clue, as he says the first time he's heard about it. But this is something that, you know, we've known about Snaps and Pop in terms of their respect, or at least their interest into Kanan, both stated in the interview and also stated in other sort of sidebars in previous episodes, which, by the way, really quickly, Wendell Pierce is phenomenal in Thunderbolts. He I totally forgot he was even in a Marvel movie. He's a phenomenal actor, so it was such a surprise to see him even in the limited role in there. Really light up the screen. Such a fan of his, and definitely was cool to kind of to see him in that capacity, because as these gangsters that we've seen him in, or even as detectives that we've seen him, he's a congressman in that. So yeah, go support the homie there. But
shout out to Chicago PD. First time I played the congressman.
But also this is like I really want to say about this, like kind of fanboying over Wendell here. First, and I love Erica too. Don't get me wrong.
Don't get twisted one bit, so because she
and matter of fact, let me just be also super clear. The complete star of this episode is Erica Woods.
Yes, she is. Hands down.
Yeah. And you gotta love them as a real life married couple that I'm sure Sascha Penn trusts them with a blank sheet and says, here's the things we just need to cover, and they riff off of each other. The banner, I've interviewed them together, so I see how they work. So like I love the fact that like everything feels like they're elevating one another. So like when they're even having these conversations with Kanan, whether they're schooling him or giving him praise, I just love how they do it. But yeah, as I mentioned, like they told Kanan, we're fond of you, but another bit of tidbit knowledge to them. Is like, but it is really all about the company you keep around you, because those are the ones that's going to hold you back, and they are a reflection of you, and they will slow you down. So if that wasn't the biggest clue right there, which we find out very later, but that was the one right there. And I got some other thoughts too, but that was the one right there. But this is where Kanan says, "Hey, I want to know, can you use your NYPD connects to find out about Famous?" And that's the whole line of saying, "Well, who told you that?"
You know,
I saw talking to her before, and I'm just like, "Oh, okay." But so your mother, by the way, yeah, it's just funny how he just completely ignores that his mom also has fake connects, a lawyer connect.
Same thing, literally
same
thing.
I think when she had her lawyer, she might have had the same measure of connects as Snaps and Pop.
Actually, identical, possibly more.
Yeah, so.
But it's also comical in this scene that he didn't pick up on them even saying, "Well, who do you think did it?"
Well,
because at that point they're fishing. Because one, you came to us about a connect that you're not supposed to know we have. And then you come to us to find out who killed your friend. Who do you think killed your friend? Because I think they're fishing to make sure he ain't put 2 and 2 together that they did it, and that's why he came to them to ask this question to kind of gauge their reaction. So they are accustomed to reading people, and they're reading the hell out of Kanan, but certain things they couldn't pick up on, so they lead with certain type of questions to get the information that they need from him, and he's not picking up on any of it.
I mean, it's
brilliant.
It's completely brilliant.
They said your issue is the company you keep, and he ain't put 2 and 2 together that they're literally telling you. Your company was famous.
Yeah, they came out of the woodworks praising him, like, we really like you. We like what you do. We think you're a good asset. You have a bright future, but your company is a problem. That right there is the first admission of guilt to say, huh? Well,
because Kanan is.
What are you saying?
Kanan is crazy enough to think the company that they're talking about is Rock. But they already know his relationship with Rock, so they wouldn't pertain to her as company. Yeah, and he ain't put 2 and 2 together because they said something about you could be a sucker. Again, that's equivalent to meaning there has to be a friend of yours, because they say the company you keep will make you a sucker. You know they don't believe your mother's a sucker in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Do they believe that? Yeah. Who would you be connected to that they would think this of? Famous.
Well, let me ask you really quickly. When they said who you think it is, and he says, I don't know, that's why I'm asking you all, why do you think he didn't give up his mother here?
Because Kanan doesn't want to say it. Because he's actually not sure.
He's
hinting as much as humanly possible that it's Rock. He wants Kanan is weird. In his heart of hearts, he thinks it's Rock because he wants it to be Rock.
Very right about that last episode to Crystal.
He's not going to tell them it's Rock under no circumstance.
Yeah. But why though? But why? Even in doubt, why do you think he withheld telling them?
I think it's literally because he doesn't want them to handle anything. Here's the weird part. Okay. As much as he hates Rock, he don't want Rock dead.
But
but then he's making
I think that's really the truth, but it's one of those.
He's making a false equivalence of thinking they would care.
Yeah.
They can fuck about Famous dying. What they got to do with them?
Well, I do want better. I think by the time we get to the finale episode, I think we're going to be taking these little moments to say, Kanan's been after his mom this entire season until the final moment where he can save her, and he's like, "Oh, that's my mom," blah 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 blah. And we're going to look back at little moments like this,
I don't think that. I think he's going to find out in the worst way humanly possible
that it was never his mother.
That was the end, and it was Snaps and Pop.
Well,
he's going to find out that the company he's been keeping is the company that's been setting him up, and that's going to be the problem because they've been setting him up since Ronnie. Yeah, this ain't been nothing new.
Yeah,
and he's going to find out, and I think he's going to find out through their connection with Unique.
I have some thoughts. I'm gonna get to my predictions.
Unique crazy and stupid. You think he gonna hide from Kanan that Snaps and Pop was setting him up?
Yeah, 100%. He's gonna weaponize it.
Man, I'm their man.
Yeah,
You replaceable. Look, they did your little Puerto Rican friend. That's gonna be it right there.
Yeah,
that's gonna be it right there for Kanan.
But yeah, they said they're gonna reach out to the peoples, and they say also let us know if you hear anything about Quan. One thing, hopefully everybody peeped while they were just very outside, just having a nice stroll through Central Park. They were completely guarded. They had bodies all around, and I love how they kept it. Yeah, they kept it like very, very in the background. You almost missed it if you wasn't paying attention. But there was definitely soldiers in every corner, so that was really cool.
Very Nino Brownish.
Yeah, 100%.
Soldiers everywhere.
But instantly Pop says like, yeah, you know, we got hit up Pickett and Wally, man. They're careless motherfuckers, which we already knew that these were two cops they were referring to. Another scene that we didn't get to really talk about, or maybe we skipped or missed or overlooked in the previous episodes a couple weeks ago, was the Marvin and Early conversation. And Marvin's getting his cut of the business, but then it get brought up about the guy that wasn't paying, and Early says, listen, me and my cousin Londell, we handled it.
We talked about this.
It was
we said because Marvin about this, because Marvin looked when Early came to Marvin as a problem.
Oh yeah,
and Marvin looked like, wait, nigga, are you talking to me? Nigga, this is your problem. Why are you telling me this? This is your problem. And we brought that up like that's the way Marvin sees it, Early's problem, and that's the way he was looking at him. But I don't think we put two and two together that this shit would, or Marvin even put two and two together that if Early solves this problem, it's going to bounce back on you. Oh, I gotta go back and listen to that. I think we may have brought up that it would bounce back on Marvin, which is making it more interesting here.
Yeah.
Because that means Marvin just didn't put it together. No, we did. Matter of fact, look at me. Look at my memory working. We said Early can't do anything to the guy because the guy's a made man. And if he does, it's going to go back on Marvin. So yes, we actually said it and we brought up the scene.
Yeah, there was something somebody said in the comments that we overlooked, and I thought it was this. But yeah, you're right. That's all facts. We did absolutely cover this. But even to that point, but he said like, hey, this is kind of skip over this. Early said like, you gave me the green light, so I handled it. And now Marvin understands that. Early understands that this guy's a heavy hitter and very much connected. But also, Marvin very much understands at this point now, as much as you want to say this is on Early, this is also on you. And your cousin is a liability because he has a big mouth. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Juke goes to O-Cee mom house. I'm just going to skim through this one. O-Cee brother's there. He tries to put it on Juke. Juke wasn't having it. Pistol whips him, put a gun to the head. She's out. She's having a good old time carrying the blicky. David still an airhead. Rock steered to let him know business is booming. We got the trucks that need to be able to depend on you. David is so happy that he gets new drugs to play with. Snaps and pop rooftop. This is actually a really beautiful scene how they shot it.
My God. Yeah.
Made them look like certified G's up there.
Hey, all they was missing was Snap saying, you know what this is? They said what? This is Brazil. That's all I was
making. This is basically letting them know, like, hey man, listen, y'all carelessness. We asked y'all to take care of him because we was concerned it was gonna trap back to us. Y'all sloppy. Now we got Kanan asking. They know it's Kanan asking. But at the end of the day, Snaps and Pop are just they're not happy with this. They want them to take care of this. But we see them more as we have recently seen them. They've been more reserved, sitting back in their little restaurant. Now we see them on the street handling business, and they're not happy about how these two cops are handling business. So they put more pressure on them to clean this up, which we know what they did later. But
I spoke out of turn too. My bad. So, dude, I don't know why that scene, not this scene, but the scene related to this scene, popped out of my head when I was talking about how Kanan was going to find out who did it. I don't even know how this popped out of my head, but it's obvious now that I think about it. We'll talk about it when we get to that scene, though.
Yeah. So Unique and Phil Russo, Phil doesn't care about Unique's problems. He says, listen, your connect, not my problem. Pay me my money. That's just what it is. Not my business that you lost your connect. You're my business. I need my money. So Unique, get the game right. Kenyatta and Julius, because and trust me, folks, I do understand that these two folks are Jamaican. At least they listen to reggae, so we're just gonna we'll make an educated assumption that they're Jamaican. But if this ain't the Jamaican version of Dr. Umar, I don't know what it is.
And you better than me. I never put together that they were Jamaican. I just thought they was from the motherland because clearly the way he talks and the way he talked to Lou when Lou came in that place,
brother,
my highly metilated brother that I have never had the privilege of putting my eyes on. Like for people don't know, that's Hotep speak for what's going on, my brother. That's what that is. That's Hotep speak. Because everybody had somebody in the hood. I know I had one in the hood growing up in DC. We all had the African bookstore. And we all know that bookstore didn't just sell books. it was a multitude of people like him in those type of bookstores.
What's the little God, it's gonna be hard for me to think it is, but I do remember the store my folks used to go to, and they used to buy these small they weren't cigarettes, they were something else. I cannot even think what they were called now. But yeah, they had their own little thing that they were selling there.
Hey, all the time. Every instant in the world, everything you need, every black empowerment book, everything.
Yeah. You got it. Yeah. And then it had some from the earth herbal stuff that wasn't weed, but at least I didn't think it was.
And that's where you got your big block of shea butter. The joke
that's
that don't
right.
ever milk. that shea butter don't ever milk.
Block.
And the black soap.
Yeah.
And the black soap, the
black
raw
soap,
black soap too. That joint ain't formed or nothing, Joe. That's where you got all that stuff from.
I think the only thing to really make it is that, Lou's just pushing up on him, trying to see what's up, but they also know that Lou has no muscle behind him anymore. I don't even know where they got that assumption from because Marvin never went anywhere. But
I think it's because the connections with Lou and the streets. So the streets tend to know stuff, and they know that Lou's no longer affiliated with his brother and sister.
I don't think
and I think they know that because Lou knows them. The moment B Rilla said something, he said, "But Kenyatta from the bookstore," it tells you these niggas is known in the neighborhood, and they know better. And I think it's also known that Lou ain't been around. Lou's been trying to go legit, and Lou ain't.
Maybe that's what they're saying. Maybe they're not saying muscle like bodies, but maybe they're saying he's just not built like that anymore.
There you go. Like you don't have. You're not in the streets anymore. We know you trying to go clean, so you ain't got that muscle behind you because you're not in the streets anymore. It's a stupid assumption to make because you know who he is. Yeah, he literally said, "I know who
Brother Thomas."
Yes, you know who he is. So even if he ain't in the streets no more, you must have an assumption. You do anything to him, those two other relatives of his that are heavy in the streets will kill you.
Yeah. So anyway, Marvin and Rock now this is Rock asking Marvin to go holler at Stefano and let him know that we back. But Marvin says actually I might have a problem because of the whole thing with Early. Rock chews him out and chews him out good because she says you always miss to fix it, because that's what you do. You missed. I'm going to fix it without not. I mean, listen, this is just her holding him accountable, saying hey, I know that you got a little dollar from this, but you need to make this right before it becomes a bigger problem, which is 1000% the battery that is put in Marvin's back for him to do what he does later. Leave it to his sister to keep her brother.
You need to kill both of them.
Yeah.
And she gave him really. I think this is also a scene for the audience more than it is for Marvin. When she says you need to take out both of them, and Marvin says Early can be trusted because Early doesn't open his mouth, you should automatically think back to the point that Unique is doing what he's doing because Early didn't open his mouth. Because Early knew that Unique was coming after them and did not say anything.
That's a good point. You cooking tonight, man. You making sure they don't get us in the comments this week. Because y'all even watched the show. Y'all missed this, Then the first thing I do is all right, let me go look at their videos real quick, see how through they are. And it's
one time. I'm gonna say one time. I don't know what season. It ain't gonna be this season. But one of these seasons, we're gonna
I'm about to
watch
mute
the
you.
episode.
Mute.
Mute me. No. Yeah, I ain't nothing stupid. I'm saying we're gonna watch the episode and then we're gonna record our review like 3 days later.
Yeah.
Just to show y'all, like, it's a difference if we just want to critically break down the show versus having this type of conversation. I think this is a better. We're not gonna catch we say this to y'all all the time. We're not gonna catch everything, but I don't think y'all want us to catch everything because
we live in a culture now where everybody wants everything spoiled, and they also want to ensure that you get everything right. It's not gonna happen.
Everything right.
Free flowing, long discussion form of the conversation here. We're gonna get it right. We're gonna get some things wrong, but we're gonna give y'all
supposed to be like y'all and y'all little cousins, because y'all telling me that when y'all went to go see Sinners as a family, that y'all sat down and talked about it weeks later to discuss the pivotal moment. Nah, y'all hit y'all fellas up, talked about the joke. Y'all got so many things wrong in the movie because clearly I done seen y'all Instagram posts and your TikTok posts about the movie. Some of y'all got complete stuff wrong, but it's still about a conversation. I think that's the most important element here is. So don't worry about it. We don't get stuff wrong. Correct us in the comments. We don't even mind. I don't mind being corrected.
Don't be disrespectful.
The way y'all killing us on this and our other show that we're covering, because if y'all one more time tell me what the time period is of Godfather Harlem, I'm gonna get on everybody.
And it's funny too, because like it's funny, I see how like recaps do like better numbers than sometimes the interviews, but like if you actually go to the interviews from the creators and the actors, you see themselves that it's been very verbal that they're taking creative freedoms in these shows. So you want to be historically correct when they're not even trying to be historically correct. Anyway, moving on.
Folks. We here to have fun.
Yeah, because we could, you know what? I'll skip it.
We're not breaking this down as critics at all, so don't worry about it. We're never going to do that. It takes away the joy of the show to do that.
Yeah. All right. So unique goes to see Snaps and Pop. So I felt like there was supposed to be a lot here, but at the end of the day, this is Unique just trying to get in the space with Snaps and Pop. Although they know that he lost their connect, he praises them by saying they're irreplaceable, but saying they can work together. Unique says, Snaps and Pop says, we'll get back to you. He trying to rush them along. And Pop's like, hey, head home, back to your coffin or crib or wherever.
That's the funniest line of this episode.
It is. Wherever you people sleep at. But Snap says, the plot thickens. So, they're like, once again, they're moving the chessboard around.
And this
the pieces
is
on the board.
Gives up way too much information.
Yeah.
Because he says, I know y'all working with Stefano. I'm working with such in New Jersey. And they listening like, oh, okay. Go on. Because if you're gonna give us this information that we can eventually use, not a problem.
Absolutely.
But again, he's also kind of following what New Jersey told him. It's always a connect, find another.
Yeah.
So he's coming hat in hand to them, but he's trying to portray an image like I'm still me, and Snaps and Pop don't care.
He's also not even thinking too. They're not going to mess up the connection with Stefano.
But what you just gave them was ammunition to use and tell Stefano, because they're Unique is working with the guys out in Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Pass that on to the other people in the family. Let them know this is how they're budgeting on their territory.
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah.
All you need is the proof, because I think that's what Stefano told Rock and Marvin, is that they needed proof that New Jersey was working with Unique, and Unique just gave the proof to Snaps and Pop.
Yeah. All right, so Rock and Juke, Rock is just going through all her mother clothes and just kind of reminiscing on the time she wore her different outfits. They bring up the idea, they bring up fame again, and Rock, makes her statement. But as I said earlier, Juke says, I'm gonna keep an eye out on Kanan, because Rock knows, and Rock says, like, I know, he's making all these assumptions of who did it, and they're just kind of all over the place. And Juke's just like, yeah, I got it. I'm gonna take care of it. And again, this is where I said, like, I don't think Juke under no circumstances is suspicious and even thinks it's Rock. And I think she's making it very clear, because I think in the earlier conversation with Kanan, it was kind of like I feel this way, but I hear you. This moment completely confirms that she knows that it ain't Rock. It's just not. Yeah. Stefano is talking to Marvin, want to know Do you have any idea who took out Quan? Once again, Marvin keeps it street code. He does. I mean, it's eventually it's him snitching on himself, but at the end of the day, he doesn't even tell Stefano the truth here. So, people are keeping their secrets close to each other. But he did mention that Jersey's ready to move in your sister, but Marvin said like they got it all under control. They're gonna get it all settled. They said they got to keep the eye on the ball in Queens. That's where the money's at. And then Stefano asks about his friend and want to know about if he heard anything about his friend. Why he does feel like it's potentially a family issue, but you always got to keep your ears to the street just in case. And Marvin's like, nah, man, that's some white people work. Another hilarious line of the episode. O-Cee body's in the trash can, just flinging around. So
hold up, you ain't talking about my other favorite part of that scene.
Oh, what's up?
When he says, when I find this person, they're going to be fitted for cement shoes. And Marvin says, oh man, I hope it ain't a pair that ever fit me. And Stefano says, these pairs are one size fit all. If that ain't a threat to let you know, I think it wasn't Rock who said it that truly put the battery in Marvin's back. It was what Stefano said there. Because that's letting him know, oh, if I find out you have anything to do with it, these cement shoes fit you perfectly also. He hit him with the old school joke. Everybody had that shit in the hood where you may walk down the street, have a fresh pair of Jordans on, and you hear niggas say, hey, yo, what size you wear? You already know what that means.
Yours, what did he say?
Your size, nigga.
Yeah, your size.
I was a cocky little dude back in the day. I would always say, I wear your size. I don't care who you are.
Yeah. So like I said, they found O-Cee body. Then Kanan and Crystal, and he says he gotta get out of New York because basically everybody's dying. And and Crystal once again declares that I don't think it was your mom that had anything to do with Famous dying. I saw how she was at the funeral. It just wasn't her. Kanan probably still not getting it there, but Crystal has to go, and she knows it. So early now with his folks playing cards, making gay jokes about Lawndale. He goes out and pees. Marvin comes up, loose lips, kills Tricks, puts a bullet in his head, catches him slipping. That's his cousin. So it had to be done based on everybody hyping him up. This episode.
Not only hyping him up, Lawndale went to jail because he couldn't help but tell people he hurt somebody. Dog, you got to die. It wouldn't even no question if I had to kill you.
Yeah.
I don't want no cement shoes. I'm not taking that risk.
All right. So now we got Rock and Hafiz. The product is there. They're looking at it. So business is about to get booming. Juke and Kanan recapping all the visits that they made in one another. But then somebody knocks at the door. They find out that O-Cee body has been found. O-Cee's gone, and Kanan says fuck because he's not happy about it. B-Rilla and Lou, they're having a conversation. This is all Lou basically explaining to B-Rilla, like, they're coming for you, just so you know. Period. Point blank. Period. And they go into the studio. And while I thought that scene was about to end, then we get to see Kenyatta and whatever his name is, Julius, sitting outside the studio waiting to make their move. This potentially could have been one of the most familiar but yet iconic setups in New York history. Because if there's one thing I know, rappers get shot in the studio.
In the studio.
Yeah. So it was Studio 41, right? Yeah.
Oh, you talking about the one where Pac was shot at?
Yeah. Or what was the one? Yeah.
I'm about to say Baseline. Baseline is Rockefeller, so it wasn't Baseline.
Damn, look that up real quick.
I can't remember. It was Puff Studio though. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Clearly, I know what you're talking about. But this is also Power 101 also.
Oh, it's Quad Studio. It was Quad Studio, not Studio 41.
Yeah.
For Tupac. Yeah.
But never be in the car in Power waiting for other people. You always gonna die. Number one. Don't wait for people in the car in Power. You're gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, it's obvious. Because again, them being able to do this would literally mean that Lou would have no connection to the streets. And be The moment he told B-Rilla, they're coming after you, but they're coming after me too because I got in the middle of your bullshit. That means Lou already was on the lookout for them.
Already. Yeah.
But we also now know, and we need to really have an understanding here. There's no difference between B-Rilla and Famous. They're literally the same person. He is not a street dude in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And he talks and rhymes like he is one.
All right, that means he got a hit, getting ready to drop.
He got no streets need a body though.
Yeah.
He's still number one on the Billboard.
Rest in peace, Famous. Rest in peace, Famous. Crystal goes to see Rock, and she has her bag, so we already know she's getting ready to make preparations to get out of town. But before we come back to that conversation, Juke's at the carryout. Detective Garcia tries to roll up on her, asking about. Well, first he brings up Shannon Burke had said good things about you. Said you're a good person, but wanting to know what she knows about Unique and his brother Ronnie. Juke ain't hearing that. She steps off.
Yep.
Crystal and Rock have a conversation about the situation. And they put it into perspective about everybody dying around Kanan. And first the question comes up of who you think is doing it. But ultimately, Crystal says, hey, Kanan needs someone, but she has to leave because she has a bus to catch. So I think before Crystal leaves, she just wanted to make sure that Kanan is protected and her mom is taking care of him.
She made sure not to tell Rock. Kanan thinks you killed Famous.
Yep. I'm just gonna say once again, nobody is snitching in this episode.
She made sure not to say that. Granted, this is the weird part. It would have led to what she wants Rock to do for Kanan. It would have led to Rock to do it if she told Rock, Kanan thinks you killed Famous. I think immediately Rock would have hit him up no, you need to see me now. Because I need to correct this. You can't be out here thinking this.
This is called television.
Yes.
Because much like we talked about earlier this season about nobody's making the connection that Unique is not dead and all these things are happening. Nobody's asking the question about Unique. Now it's the sense of no one's mentioning that Kanan thinks Rox did it. Because if he did, then we obviously that's going to trigger another event, which all these things are going to happen at the end of that.
I thought she was about to bring up another part that no one put the connection to.
What is?
No one's put the connection to. If Famous was looked at as a snitch, and he was going to snitch on Kanan, Snaps and Pops would be the one that would want him dead. All they know is the streets is telling them somebody's involved, but the weird part is Rock is not in the streets, nor Marvin, nor is Lou finding out who could have possibly did something to Famous. It's only Kanan and Juke. But because they're the only ones in the street and they're not conveying these messages to any of the siblings that, hey, this is what we're hearing in the streets. Because I think if they would have said to Rock, we're hearing cops had something to do with friendness, I think Rock would have put two and two together immediately.
Yeah.
And said, Snaps and Pop, you work with them. Why wouldn't it be them?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So now we go back to O-Cee house. Everybody's there. They get the news that he's dead. Mother's crying. Everybody's asking who did it. They still have no answer. Kenyatta and Julius are still waiting outside. They're getting frustrated. And then the next scene is Crystal gets on a bus, but she gets pulled off the bus because she's being questioned by the two cops. Well, she makes the statement that I instantly was going to ask, what have y'all been following me? But of course they have, because I'll tell you why in 1 second. And the last scene we get is, we get Lou catching two bodies. He got the drop on them. He knew they were coming. Lou is back. Back. He kills Kenyatta and Julius. I think not only because it was the right thing to do because he knew heat was coming, but I also think it was a merit of protecting B-Rilla. I think he 100% wanted to look out for him in all of this.
And they questioned him. Pride falleth before man.
Yeah.
Never question, am I street anymore? Because you will find out.
Yeah.
It's because you question it. You're going to have to find out. Because I can't think, folks can't think, and I think this is the one thing that Lou always took for granted. Folks in the street can't think Lou is food.
Yeah.
And if y'all know what that means, please look it up. But they can't believe that's Lou. And this is the best way for you not to believe it. Because you knew these niggas was after me. And both of them are dead. And B Rilla's not a killer. Who do you think did it?
Yeah.
Because even B Rilla questioned him when he said, if this was the old Lou that I heard of, these two would have already been handled.
Yeah.
So that means a lot of people are having this misconception about Lou. And he's like, I need to correct this. Because as much as I want my peace and I want my safety, I still can't have people think it's okay to come and test me.
Yeah. Yeah. So that ends this episode. So let's talk about some things I'm kind of predicting for next week, because there's a lot of things set up. And I go back to Crystal being pulled off the bus by the cops. And this is a measure of them trying to clean up their loose ends. And I think when you talk about their loose ends, I think Crystal is being pulled off the bus for a reason, because if that's Kanan's girl, there's one or two things that happens here. Either because they understand that she potentially could be a liability and could course correct Kanan back on track from everything, or she may know, or it goes back to just the very basic statement earlier made, and that could be the company that is around him. The same reason they wanted to take Famous out for being bad company. Obviously, there was more detrimental to Snaps and Pop and their business, but they did make this statement of saying these are the people that can slow you down. Well, a girl that's out here getting you get a new apartment and all other potential distractions that could be, could they not be fond of her? Could she be the next victim? Is the question. And I don't know, but I do think that is not looking good. I do not think it's looking good for her at all.
I think this is twofold though.
Okay.
I think the person of me who loves like Kanan finally becoming bright would assume that this would lead to them making a mistake and these cops informing him who they work for, and that's why they go after him. Because when the other black cop on the roof said, "Oh, the Starks kid," you already know they know it's him looking at everything. Because Snaps and Pops just said an associate of ours. They never said Kanan's name. The cops said Kanan's name,
but they knew. Yeah,
but they knew his girlfriend. So you would think that maybe this is going to be how they end up finding out, or how Kanan ends up finding out that Snaps and Pop are the ones involved here because of these two cops. But then to think that, I would have to believe that these teenagers are smart enough not to make dumb decisions. So when I put on my teenagers make dumb decisions hat, this is going to be her telling Kanan, I now believe you that it's Rock because I left her house and the cops followed me. She ain't gonna put. I don't think she's gonna put two and two together.
I don't think she. You know what I think? Even you know what? I don't think she gets away from them because Crystal is a hot talker without fear, and she stood up to Rock one time where he was kind of like, "Oh snap!" Like, nah, I wasn't expecting that for her. I think she's either gonna try to defend Kanan, or she's just gonna get the talking, and I think the cops are just gonna do what they do.
Now, if they kill Crystal, I think it's completely different. Yeah, if they kill Crystal, he's gonna know it's not Rock.
100%. 100%.
If they kill Crystal, he's going to know for sure Rock didn't kill Famous.
What do you think the chance that Snaps or Pop do it?
Do what? Kill Crystal?
Yes.
None. I think it's the cops that's going to do it. They told the cops to clean up their mess because they're moving sloppy. And you know when you tell dirty cops to clean up their mess because they move sloppy, you know what they do?
Make more mess.
Make more mess. And I think they're going to think to send a message to Kanan, kill his girlfriend and have him find the body. Maybe that'll tell him, don't go looking into us anymore. It happened to you. The problem is that sends the wrong message to him because he'll know for sure it wasn't Rock. Because Rock could do a lot. And while he's dumb enough to say Rock could get rid of anybody, I don't think he thinks Rock would go that far. Okay. Not if she just needs to send a message to Kanan and stop looking into it. She would just tell him, stop looking into it.
Yeah.
That's unnecessary for her. But then I think what's going to end up happening is something's going to happen to Crystal. Kanan is going to find some way. The family's going to get together. He's going to bring it up. He's going to be emotional, and Rock's going to say, "I saw her before she left, and she said she was getting on the bus because of you. What happened?" And I think he'll then wait. If she talked to you, and she already was telling me that you didn't kill Fame, and then he's going to say, "I heard cops had something to do with Famous," and Rock's going to say, "Snaps and Pops got cops. You ain't put two and two together that it was them."
That sounds like
And
a
I
very
think
Rock
that-
statement. You know what? I like Snaps and Prop being more of a forefront figure instead of them just hiding behind the restaurant statue. So it could be something if they did. It would be it would definitely be a new
something. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say it'd just be a new posture from them that we haven't been able to see them catch a body.
Yeah. And I don't think it would be something that sets up the end of Snaps and Pop this season. I think it's something that sets up Snaps and Pop as the huge threat for the next season.
Of course, 100%.
Because when all the cards are on the table,
well,
you get the Thomases going against them too.
And beyond that too, we haven't even seen them be at foes with Stefano yet. You're not going to have these big castings and just have them just be,
and
basically part-time cast members.
Can they now, because of the way Rock has everything set up? Because keep in mind, they also got their drugs from the same person. What did Rock say? "I didn't set this up to get work from you. I want to be the distributor." That means Rock will be distributing to everybody.
Yeah.
Because remember, she's funneling drugs to Stefano, who will be funneling drugs to them.
Yeah.
Rock becomes the biggest connection of all of this. So what happens if we get a situation where all of this comes to fruition? They all find out Snaps and Pop killed Fame. Kanan now can't work with them anymore. But Rock ain't stupid. She's going to want that connection to stay the same. But they're going to find out through Stefano that Rock is the big one now.
We're going to see. We're going to see. I definitely think there's a lot of
very interesting.
I definitely think there's a lot of little things going to happen. So we got to talk about what's going to happen with Crystal's fate now that she's with these cops.
Yeah.
I think that with Quan's death, how do everybody kind of reshuffle the deck? What will be Unique's retaliation? I could only imagine that the one thing he knows he can do, because he can't touch her, would be to go see David. 100%.
Remember though, New Jersey is very adamant.
No. He can't touch Rock. But David's the only liability right now on the table.
I would say the issue with that would be if he touches David, he messes with Stefano's money. If you mess with Stefano's money, you're messing with New Jersey because they can't have that happen. Like what New Jersey was basically telling Unique is things can't be hot right now under no circumstances.
Yeah.
Like none of this can be funneled back to cause us a problem. They just want him to find a new connect.
I don't know.
Because remember, Unique said he wanted to hit up those shops. And New Jersey was like, "No, we're not giving you the rights to do anything.
Yeah.
Don't hurt her business. Don't hurt anything." No, because that will bring more pressure on us from Stefano.
I ain't asked all that. Because that you're being rational. They got to continue to be and show the irrational side of him. And that's why I think his retaliation.
I don't think that's where the irrational side of him is going to come out. I think the irrational side of him is going to come out if Snaps and Pops tell him they're not working with him.
Yeah, either way. But again, I think that he's going to try to hurt. He's going to have to try to hurt Rock in a way in proxy without directly it being that. Just like we don't know who killed Quan, I think he just does the same. I think he goes back and says, "Y'all don't know who did it, but the one thing Rock needs is the trucks." And I think that's what he does.
At what point in time do you think he goes after Kanan?
Never. Can't.
Why?
Snaps and Pops.
Kanan. But here's the weird part, though. Then I would have to not pay attention to exactly what he told Snaps and Pop about Kanan.
He can't. I don't see it happening. But
when they sat at that table and he said, "I know the only way y'all getting any work is from Kanan, and I can replace him and be better."
For sure.
And Snaps and Pop's
you mess up the deal. He messes up. He's not going to get it. He can replace him, and he can. And just think about this real quick. And this is my thought. Whatever your thoughts. Kanan is currently untouchable because of snaps and pop. He doesn't have to replace him in order to work with him because it's no different from when Ronnie was working with them and Kanan was still there. So it's definitely something that they can do, but he can't touch Kanan because they will know. There's literally nobody else that could be at fault.
Ronnie was working under Kanan.
For sure. They still were working together.
Kanan's hand that Ronnie was in charge, and any debt of Ronnie's is your debt. The difference here is it's going to be known to them that Kanan knows what they did. I'm not leaving that part out of it. It's going to be known to them that Kanan knows that they killed Famous. At that point, they can no longer play that game. They're only holding on to Kanan to control Rock. Ain't no need for that no more. So once all the cards are on the table, Kanan is no different than anyone else.
So my last question now at this point becomes, how does Kanan find out about Famous's death? Does he put it together? I doubt it. Does Rock put it together for him? Possibly. Or does he hear it from the horse's mouth?
From Snaps and Pop?
Yeah.
I don't think they would tell him. Unless they're just not 100% sure if he didn't send them on a fishing expedition for them to tell him that they did it, they're not going to tell them. I think it's going to be through what I said before. I think it'll be through Crystal dying. If Crystal is up dead because of these cops, I think at that point all the pieces will get put on the table. Yeah, because the cops need to send a message to Kanan. If she's already disappearing, the message can't be that he can't reach her. The message has to be that you need to see her dead.
Yeah.
That's the message. If he sees her dead, then I think eventually will become that Snaps and Pop are the real threat here.
Man, I'm trying. I just feel like
Kane is too emotional. Oh, shit. I thought about it. And I said it because Kane is too emotional. You know what's going to end up happening? He's going to fuck around and try to go to Rock and do something to Rock, and Juke's going to put a gun to his head.
Oh, that's crazy. That's
because
crazy.
He's gonna.
I'm just gonna say this though. I just think at the point now, I just love the fact that Snaps and Pop aren't just sitting behind the desk now. So I expect them to be more pivotal characters going forward. And I love the fact that like they won't, not only will they get more screen time, but I think they're going to have a lot to do with how the plot and things move forward. So I wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if Pops herself was the one to be like, I did it.
Who's the big death in episode 9? We already know one's going to happen. It always happens in episode 9.
I don't know.
Who's the big death in episode 9? Is it Crystal? It could be Crystal because that's a big death.
I don't think that's the big death. I mean, I don't think it's a big death, but I definitely don't think Crystal's making it out. That's my prediction. I've been saying.
I think that's a huge death because I think that lays, again, I've said it before. I think that lays so many cards on the table.
But I mean, I think it's no different than David dying. Then that's what I'm saying. Like if David with the trucks is out, because that's their business.
The trucks is a business thing, and I understand why that is a big blow because it's a business thing. Crystal dying is a big emotional Kanan thing.
Also a business thing for Snaps and Pop, potentially.
It's a business thing for Snaps and Pop, but it's an emotional thing that will lead Kanan to doing something reckless, and that will be going after his mother.
Yeah.
And then I think that's the conflict that's happening, and then that's what leads Juke. Because Rock already said, I need you to keep an eye on him, Juke. Marvin ain't looking for him, and Lou ain't looking for him. If he goes to Rock's house or he tells Juke something that she thinks he's a threat to Rock, I think then Juke stops him. And the way Juke's going to stop him is by putting a gun to his head or doing something to him. Because we also have to play out that them two separated at one point in time. What led to that separation? Is it going to be that Juke sided with Rock?
Well, let's leave it there. We'll leave it there. We got episode 409 next week. Y'all can let us know in the comments your thoughts about episode 408 and your predictions for next week's episode. And then right after that, we're for the finale. So yeah, we'll end it there. Thoughts, comments, like, subscribe, all that good stuff down below. We'll see y'all back in just 1 week for more Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. Thank you for watching tonight, folks.